Good evening, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for Friday, December 5, 2025. And in the news this evening, unidentified man found shot dead in Spanish Town. The St. Catherine police are investigating the killing of an unidentified man whose body was found along Rivoli Avenue in Spanish Town on Thursday. Residents reportedly heard explosions about 6:40 a.m. Checks later revealed that the man had been shot. The police were summoned and on arrival found the body lying face down with what appeared to be gunshot and stab wounds. The man was clad in blue jeans shorts, black New Balance sneakers, and a pink shirt. He also had several tattoos on both arms. The scene was processed and the body was removed for a post-mortem examination. The Spanish Town Criminal Investigation Branch is probing the matter. St. Elizabeth Police probe shooting death of man in Treasure Beach. Police in St. Elizabeth are investigating the fatal shooting of a man in Treasure Beach early Thursday morning. The deceased has been identified as Mazola W.A. Washigadi. Reports are that about 12:20 a.m., Washigadi was in the area of Belize Bay when explosions were heard. Checks later revealed that he had been shot and injured. He was assisted to the Mandeville Hospital where he was pronounced dead. The Black River Criminal Investigation Branch is investigating the matter. St. Mary man charged in armed robbery of motorcyclist. A 22-year-old construction worker of Gully Road, Boscobel, St. Mary, has been charged in relation to the armed robbery of a motorcyclist along the Charlestown Main Road last year. The accused, Roderick Williams, otherwise called the Glockman, was charged by the police on Wednesday with a robbery with aggravation, assault at a common law, possession of a prohibited weapon, and using a firearm to commit a felony. According to reports from the St. Mary Police, about 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, September 9, 2023, a man was riding his 2020 Zamco motorcycle along the roadway when he stopped to assist Williams, who was experiencing mechanical problems with his motorcycle. It is reported that Williams and an accomplice then brandished the firearms and robbed the man of his motorcycle, a Samsung A20 cell phone, and cash before escaping on the stolen bike. A report was subsequently made to the police and an investigation was launched. Williams was later apprehended and taken into custody. He was formally charged after being positively identified on an identification parade conducted on Wednesday. Attorney raises questions about possible trafficking of Donnelly Donaldson. Attorney at law Larry Smith, King's Counsel, on Thursday raised the possibility that a missing social media influencer, Donnelly Donaldson, could have been a victim of trafficking. Donaldson has not been seen since July 12, 2022 and is presumed dead, with Police Constable Noel Maitland, her boyfriend, facing charges of murder and preventing the lawful burial of a corpse in relation to her disappearance. When Maitland's trial resumed in the Home Circuit Court in downtown Kingston on Thursday, Smith, who is one of the attorneys representing him, cross-examined a detective inspector, asking him to confirm whether there was a trafficking in persons unit within the Jamaica Constabulary Force. When the detective inspector answered in the affirmative, Smith asked him if he would agree that he did not check with the trafficking in persons unit during the investigations. The policeman admitted that he didn't. Smith also probed whether the detective inspector had ever encountered circumstances of claims of people traveling in vehicles labeled taxis being used to abduct people. In earlier testimony, the detective inspector told the court that during the course of the investigations, Cathania Smith, the mother of Maitland's child, was placed on a watch list which would trigger a notification each time she left or entered the island. The detective said that he was made aware at some point during the investigations that she left Jamaica and did not return. He said she was placed on the watch list because she was a person of interest in the case. However, despite the police requesting a statement from her, she never gave one before she left Jamaica. The detective told the court that throughout the course of the investigations, their hope was to find Donaldson alive. When Smith asked the detective inspector if he was aware of a possible sighting of Donaldson in Old Harbor, St. Catherine on July 17, 2022, the cop responded that information was received that someone fitting the description of Donaldson was seen. The trial continues on Monday. 72-year-old accused of torching daughter's house in St. James. A 72-year-old St. James electrician is now at the center of a fiery family saga in which he allegedly attempted to burn down his child's home. Junior Malcolm stood before Judge Natisha Fairclough Hilton in the St. James Parish Court on Wednesday to answer to a charge of arson. The allegation is that he set his daughter's home ablaze, and the fear is that he will do it again. Prosecutors allege that Malcolm set fire to the house owned by his daughter and her husband, a $38-year-old $1 million property where he had been allowed to live. Malcolm's attorney, Christiana Freginet, told the court that efforts to secure bail had been hampered because the persons whom he is to reside with were not present in court because they were having difficulties in terms of the distance in traveling to court. She added, however, that arrangements were now in place for him to live at another family address and urged the court not to confine a man of his age to the cells. Freginet pleaded for bail in a reasonable sum, but the prosecution forcefully pushed it back. They argued that, if released, Malcolm was likely to re-offend. According to the clerk of court, this was Malcolm's second attempt to set fire to the house. The court was advised that there is a long-running domestic dispute. The situation is that Mr. Malcolm's daughter is married to the complainant in this matter. They purchased this house for $38 million and allowed Mr. Malcolm to reside on the premises. They purchased this house from Mr. Malcolm's wife, and this is why Mr. Malcolm has the propensity to commit the offense for which he is before the court. It does not appear that the notion that encourages him to burn the house will disappear anytime soon, the clerk said. I am of the view that he may be encouraged to go back to the house if granted bail to burn it down this time, and may in fact succeed this time around, the clerk added. According to the prosecution, Malcolm was evaluated at a Cornwall Regional Hospital where it was determined that he was in good mental health. There was also a recommendation for the complainant and his wife to collect him from the hospital. It does not appear that Mr. Malcolm is operating from any medical defect. He just intends to burn down the house, and he will do so if granted bail, the clerk stated. Judge Fairclough Hilton noted with concern that the defendant had allegedly made 2 attempts to burn the property and that nothing suggested he was mentally unfit. Attorney Freginet requested a short mention date for someone to come and take responsibility for Malcolm. In addition, the court also learned that the official fire report remains outstanding. Judge Fairclough Hilton ordered that the elderly electrician be remanded in custody until December 5, when the matter will again be mentioned. Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.